and I don't mean this in an ad hominem way, I mean this as technically and as honestly as possible based upon the evidence, that Mormonism is a cult. And so that you understand I'm not being ad hominem here, let me define a cult for you. A cult is a relatively small group of people having religious beliefs or practices regarded by others as strange or sinister. And so Mormonism fits the bill both ways. The teachings of the Book of Mormon espouse false doctrine that undermines Scripture and everything known to be the Christian faith throughout every generation, past, present, and future. And those sinister and strange doctrines also include things like this. Specifically, the LDS Church believes that Jesus worked his way to divinity. You can see this in the teachings of Joseph Smith. So this idea that Jesus was a man that worked his way to divinity, this idea drawn to its logical conclusion would suggest that we too as humans can work our way to become God, just like Jesus did. This is the Mormon view here. And to back that up, I'll show you the guy who has a college named after him, Brigham Young. He would later teach that, quote, the number of gods and worlds can't be known, and that the process of men becoming gods goes on eternally, end quote. This is something called eternal progression, and a Mormon prophet named Lorenzo Snow said something about this as well. He said, quote, as a man now is, God once was. As God now is, man may be. Whoa. I mean, like, seriously. The point is Mormonism has a deeply confused view of God that spirals into radical polytheism. It clearly denies the fundamental Christian doctrine of the Trinity, that there are three divine exclusive persons but one God. And it has a distorted view of the divinity of Jesus. So it's a cult in that way, but it's also a cult in another way. The LDS movement is a cult because it does the second part of the definition of a cult. They have a misplaced or excessive admiration for a particular person or thing. In this case, it's their belief in their founder that makes Mormonism a cult. The man was a false prophet who believed he was called by God now to polygamy, and so he took 40 wives. So among them was a 14-year-old Helen Kimball. So not only is he a polygamist, but he's also a pedophile, taking a 14-year-old to be his wife because, quote, God told him to do so. Now, it is true that the leaders of a religion don't always represent the organization. I mean, we saw that in the Jim and Tammy Faye thing that I showed you at the beginning here. But we would need to know that Mormons have pushed aside from their belief in the prophet Joseph Smith, because you really can't judge a faith based upon its abuses. So the question is then this: have Mormons pushed away from a belief that Smith was a Mormon prophet and that he was the rightful founder of the Mormon faith, and that they still look to him today to help them in understanding their faith? So according to the LDS website, Joseph Smith intended to discover who the true church was. His discovery led him to found the Mormon Church. So on the website, you'll find that not only is the Mormon Church the one true church, but you'll also find leaders praising Smith and praising his discovery of the Mormon Church as the true church. So this brings us to a fourth and final cult-like thing about the Mormons. The irony of saying that we can't call Mormons Christians any more than we can call all evangelicals Christians is that Mormons do this exact same thing. So Dallas says you can't make blanket statements about what all people believe. Well, the Mormon religion was built upon the belief that they are the true church, and that everybody else out there who claims to believe in Jesus, they're following a false gospel. Joseph Smith even wrote this, that the Lord himself said that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the only true church. Joseph Smith relayed this when he recounts a time that he was praying, and he asked God to know what the right church was and which church that he should go to. And he said that he was directly told from God, quote, that he must not join any of them, for they were all wrong. So Smith was right about one thing, at least you can say this: there is such a thing as authentic Christianity and false Christianity. Authentic Christianity is both historic and biblical. Everything outside of that is not Christian.
You can catch brand new episodes of Indie Thinker with Reed Huberman every Monday and weekly bonus episodes to keep you thinking throughout the week. But you have to subscribe and click the bell to be notified when new episodes drop. If you enjoy this content, make sure to like this video and share it with friends.